I caught something that Kash Patel said during his Senate Oversight meeting this week that a lot of people didn't catch. And essentially, he confirmed for me that Donald Trump's immigration effort is not only brutal and, traumatizing and inhumane, but it's also horribly inefficient and ineffective. And it's something that we've done in our history before and determined because it's inefficient and ineffective and costly, we're going to pivot. So they returned to something that was already determined by this United States is not workable. Well, of course, we know that part of the effort is ethnic cleansing, but they didn't really care for undocumented illegal immigrants, because we know that because of the babies and the elderly and the sick and the nursing and all these people with no criminal background that they're rounding up and deporting. So we know it's really not about undocumented people. We know that. But to the extent that this administration does everything backwards, with reckless disregard to rule, proper order, procedures, processes, the Constitution, and with disregard to fiscal responsibility. Listen to what Kash Patel said during an exchange with Senator Chris Van Hollen from Maryland, my senator, that got heated, got a lot of press this week, but there was something else he said that piqued my interest about another testimony. First, listen to what he said.
Have you redirected resources away from your core FBI responsibilities toward the mass deportation effort?
No one at the FBI has been permanently reassigned on the immigration front. And when we pull the numbers, the FBI's overall operational field expenditures surged periodically for immigration enforcement activities, including the arrest of 2,000 people with direct ties to foreign terrorist organizations, was 2.4%.
He said we arrested 2,000 people with known terror links. That reminded me, I'm JJ Legal. If you're new here, what I do is I track the lawsuits filed against the Trump administration and those the Trump administration filed against others to take you beyond the headlines, to let you know that the courts are working, even judges appointed by Donald Trump himself, Ronald Reagan, George W. Bush, and those appointed by Bill Clinton, Barack Obama, and Joe Biden. Anyway, that's my spiel. I noticed and I remember Todd Lyon, who used to be the acting ICE director before he called it quits. I'm like, I can't take this anymore. I'm going to my family. This is like mentally draining. During his opening testimony, when he did Oversight, he also mentioned some numbers that were curious. Listen to him, what he says here. Listen to his opening.
Since the beginning of the second Trump administration, we have achieved historic results. From January 20th, 2025 through January 20th, 2026, ICE has conducted nearly 379,000 arrests. Among those arrests were more than 7,000 suspected gang members and over 1,400 known as suspected terrorists.
That number, he said 1,700 known terror suspects, 7,000 people with gang links, and he arrested 379,000 people, almost 400,000 people. Representative Julie Johnson from California, 36th Congressional District or 23rd Congressional District, I'm not quite sure. She also noted the numbers and she called them out. 2%, listen to this.
Own comments. You said that you had 379,000 arrests, but only 8,700 of them were suspected gang members or known suspected terrorists. That's 2%. And the problem is we can't terrorize 98% of the people in this country that have been wrongfully detained for 2%. That's not how the system works.
2%. Woefully inefficient. Why are we doing that? Why? And here's the thing, this is not the first time. Pam Bondi, the former Attorney General, when she was in the hot seat, one of the couple of times that she was on the hot seat, and she too said after the Minnesota surge ended with the ending of life of 2 American citizens, traumatizing, terrorizing whole communities. The state of Minnesota is actually suing the Trump administration for all the economic costs of the surge, because it was very, very, the surge that they've done in all the cities, in every single places they're attacking. The man is at war with America. He's at war on behalf of Israel with Iran. He's also at war with American Democrats, black people, brown people, marginalized people, trans people, all the folks that he feels threatened by. He was put in place on behalf of his white replacement theorist folks to come and, I don't know, anyway, got to take that off. To wreak havoc and displace our representative democracy with a kleptocracy right now. but want to be authoritarian, ethno-facet, I don't know, techno-monarchy, whatever the hell. I don't know what they're trying to do. So Pam Bondi said, after all that, how many arrests did we get, Pam?
We have made dozens of arrests in and around Minneapolis so far, and many of them could have been avoided by simple compliance with federal law.
Dozens. You terrorize communities for dozens. The numbers aren't numbering. We also see that they're building out these warehouses. Today I saw the news that said they're continuing purchasing warehouses that aren't meant for that are human use. In the Maryland, for example, they said they had 4 bathrooms or 4 toilet facilities for warehouses supposed to house like thousands of people or something like that. And they're bumping up into, of course, opposition from the communities. In one community, they just turned off their water, and even it's a waste of time. Alligator Alcatraz costs a lot of money, and that's being shut down because they're hastily putting these things together. They're ignoring the laws of the cities and the state. They're saying, we're not going to let you put these people here. We're going to lock the door. We're going to padlock it. We're going to turn off the water. We're going to shut off access. You're not coming here. You're not bringing these things here. Just let everybody who's not an immigrant, who has no criminal warrant, who has no criminal detainer, who has no final removal order, let them all go. Give them what's called a alternative so you can track them, and let them stay in line and continue in line where they were. The reason why they're building all these facilities is because they're violating United States immigration law, and to a tune of 10,000 people have been let go. So if you're caught, you have a lawyer or you have someone who can get you in front of a judge, you're going to get let go. There's a 10-to-1 ratio. That's what Politico recently reported. So all of this they're doing is for nothing. Though there is also a report that said a lot of people have just realizing they're just giving up and going home. But at the end of the day, at the end of this administration, hopefully sooner than later, when you calculate all the cost of everything, the number of people who left, the number of people who they actually deported, for the number of people who got let go and still here, it's going to be a blip on the screen. And it was just a wild effort to delay what the population researchers say in terms of the population of the United States is going to change so drastically that in a short time, the white population is going to be outnumbered, and with that outnumbering comes political shift, and with that political shift comes they believe that we're going to do to them what they did to us, which we're not unkind people. But anyway, I digress. So it's so inefficient. The warehouses may or may not get built, but they're putting up a lot of fuss. I saw a report from the Geo Group, their financial outlook report. I think they're publicly traded. They had a call with investors and said that they're going to start targeting red states because the blue districts are putting up so much fight. But in the red states, they're putting up fights too. Look at what's going on with Utah and the data centers and Kevin O'Leary. They don't want it in their backyard either. Now, on top of this, I said it's inefficient. It's been done before. When has it been done before? In history. When you look at the numbers and you see some people call Barack Obama the deporter in chief, because Barack Obama and Joe Biden, compared to Donald Trump, deported more people, but it's also because of how they calculate deportation. So Barack Obama, for example, was counting anyone who came in at the border, was stopped and turned back around. That was kind of deportation. So those numbers counted. But the difference is, a long time ago, they did used to actually go into and just do roving, raids of back kitchens and all sorts of places. And they determined that was inefficient. And one year, I think it was 2007, they arrested, they got 7,000 people. And they caused so much trauma and stress and distrust to the communities. They say it's not worth it. Let's just wait for the border. And if anyone gets arrested, we'll work with the sheriff's department, the police departments. And if anyone looks like, they're here unlawfully, or there's a criminal detainer, or they violated their immigration status, we can remove them that way. So let's work with the police. Let's do the border. And then occasionally, if we do identify someone who has done something in the criminal database, also has a removal order, let's go do targeted, where we're just going specifically for them. Unlike what we saw early this year, where it was just roving, where they're just going around looking, asking people, what are you have an accent, just, thank you, Brett Kavanaugh. So they decided for a policy just to pivot to those things, and that's what's been working. It's been working so much that month over month through the last year of Joe Biden presidency, the border crosses went down every single month. I did a video on it. I shared it on my YouTube channel. Month over month. So, and also, if you don't know, there was a big expose on Greg Bovino, all these various characters that came in and out. of this damn administration. And in the expose, I think the Atlantic did on Greg Bovino, they said Greg Bovino went to the border because he's a border agent, and they weren't doing anything. They were bored and decided to take them into the interior and do something and cause some ruckus. That piqued Donald Trump's interest, and that's how Greg Bovino got that job. And that's when he decided we're going to take the people from the border and bring them inside to terrorize. Because the border agents were bored because there wasn't no activity at the border, because the immigration border policy was working. And the reason why they're getting people who've been here 20, 30, 40 years now under this Trump administration, because during the first Trump administration, they didn't go after those people who were just living their lives. Some of them used to be first responders. Some of them have business owners. Some of them are superintendent of schools. Some of them are police officers. Some of them worked in the military. They didn't go after those people. And Americans don't want those type of people. Americans and the neighbors have been rallying around their immigrant neighbors that have been picked up. And you've seen cases and stories of that over and over and over again. So it's inefficient, it's cruel for no reason, it's a waste of time. Like every single thing in this man administration, when we finish calculating, history is gonna say it was a colossal waste of time. He just ran to avoid jail, to golf, grift, pardon his friends, make money for his family, for his friends, and that's it. Jay's Legal. Each one teach one. Share this video so more people know. Share this video and like and subscribe.